Okay, today I'm going to make a videos about the SPM Form 5 Modern Max graph function because actually I promised one of the student to make this video. Alright, so graph function actually for Modern Max is quite simple, but then you need to really understand what is going on, because what is the pattern of the graph, and then what is y-intercept, what is x-intercept, because the question will always give you an equation and then ask you to choose A, B, C, D, which one is the pattern of the graph. So in order to solve this kind of questions, I believe you need some basic understanding about the equation, about the pattern. So in this short video, I'm going to teach you everything about this. Of course, in this video, I won't go until very deep because this is only for Modern Max. So if you got questions, you want to ask me about how actually the graph will move when +1, +2, or the x is multiple 1, multiple 2, I can teach you in the other video. But this video, I just want to make it short and quick. Alright, so first, in graph function, I believe you will see few different patterns of the graph. One is we call it linear graph. Okay, linear graph is something very simple. You got y equals to ax plus c, ax plus b, alright? Or sometimes you will see y equals to mx plus c, is the same thing. Okay, this is linear graph. And then at the same time you will see also the quadratic graph. Okay, quadratic graph, the equation is y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, and then you will see about the cubic graph also. Cubic graph is cubic graph will be cubic graph. You will see y equals to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx and plus d. Alright, and then last one, I believe you will see the reciprocal graph. Okay, reciprocal graph is y equals to a over x. Alright, so how am I decide whether this one is a reciprocal or quadratic or linear or cubic? So first we decide what is the graph is based on the higher power of x in the equation. So for example, you can see here the highest power of x is 1, because here you do not have any other x. So this one is x power 1. Alright, so over here I'm going to write is power, the x power 1. Alright, okay, in quadratic graph, you see ax squared plus bx plus c. Both also, a and b also got x over here, but then the highest power is 2. Because this is x power 1 only, x power 2. If you got a higher one, we always take the higher one. So for quadratic graph, the highest power of x should be power of 2. Alright, okay, because we aim for the highest power, is the highest power. Alright, and obviously for cubic, the highest power of x is 3. So you can see you got x cubed, x squared, and x, right? But then the highest one is power of 3. So this one, the x, power 3. Okay, for reciprocal, the x is at the bottom, right? If you learn about integers before, we know this one is called x power of, what is the power of x? This one I will call x power of -1. Right, because in integers we know if we got 1 over a, we will call it a power of -1, right? So it's 1 over x, this is x power of -1. Alright, so normally for reciprocal means x power of negative, not necessarily in 1, it can be -2, -3, -4. You will still see the pattern of the reciprocal, but then whenever the power have negative, means the x is at the denominator position, means it's reciprocal graph. Right? Okay, this is something for you to how to differentiate. That one is linear, quadratic, cubic, or reciprocal. Alright, then what I want you to know is the pattern of the graph. Okay, let's say for linear graph, if if the A is positive, your graph will look like this pattern. If A is negative, your graph will look like this pattern. Alright, so I repeat one more time. This one when A is bigger than 0 means A is positive. This one when A is less than 0. Okay, what is the meaning of A positive? Okay, A is the coefficients. A is the number always beside the highest power of x. So you can see here the highest power of x is 2, right? A is always beside here. This one the highest power is 3, right? A is always beside the x power of 3. Alright, and then for this one, A is actually the number on the number on the numerator here. Alright, so this is A. So when A is bigger than 0, you will got the graph pattern is like this. When A is less than 0, you will got the graph pattern is like this. So maybe you still feel very confused. What is called A bigger than 0, A less than 0. I give you some example. Let's say I got y equals to 2x plus 7. So 2 is the A. So you have to decide 2 is a positive number or negative number. Obviously 2 is bigger than 0, right? So A is bigger than 0, so the graph pattern is like this. So for this one, y is equals to, let's say, negative 1 over 2x minus 5. Yeah, so then the graph pattern will like this because the A is negative 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2 is less than 0, isn't it? Even is a fraction, but it's still less than 0. So the graph pattern will look like this. Of course, if you learn about y equals to mx plus c, you know the 7 and negative 5 is a y-intercept. Okay, that one we go to it later. So now I want you to understand the pattern first. Right? And then another thing very important is you always have to make sure the subject as y. If here is 2y or here is negative 2y, you cannot decide the graph like that. If you got something like negative 2y equals to 2x plus 7, you have to move the negative 2 to the other side. Because in order to decide the graph pattern, you must, here can only have y, and then beside of y is 1, and then y power is 1. Okay? Mean you cannot have any other number or alphabet over here. Okay? Means whenever you want to decide the graph pattern, make sure y is the subject. Alright? Okay. Then for reciprocal graph, okay, when you have got A is positive, you have got this pattern. A is negative, you have got this pattern. Alright? So it's not really hard, right? This one A is bigger than 0. This one A is less than 0. Mean negative graph. So sometimes if you go and do very deep, you will know that when A is negative, you will got minimum point. See, this one actually is a minimum point. When A is less than 0, you will got maximum point. Alright, however, I think this one is not so important for modern math student. But yeah, A is the number beside the x square. Alright, so I just randomly give you some example. Let's say we'll got y equals to negative 2x plus 3x squared. Alright, okay, because a lot of students might think, how possible, because it's negative 2x, but I say A is the number beside the highest power of x. So this is quadratic graph, right? This one is A. So whatever number beside x1 is B. So this is B. So even B is negative, it doesn't affect the graph pattern. Because the graph pattern is affected by A. Right? So A is the number beside x squared, remember? Right, so same to this one, maybe yeah, just y equals to 7 plus 3x minus 4x squared. Alright, so you can see A is actually is negative 4. So your graph pattern will like this. Alright, and then the next one will be cubic graph. Okay, cubic graph, when A is bigger than 0, your graph will look like this. When A is less than 0, your graph will look like this. Alright, so please remember this one. This one, when A is bigger than 0, means is when the graph is positive. This one we call it when the graph is negative. Alright, so for example, just randomly some example, maybe y equals to 3x cubed yeah, plus 4x plus 1. Right? So as long as you see this one is 3, so you know your graph will be like this, and then this one just, for example, y equals to 4x squared minus 7x cubed. Alright, so you can see the number beside the x cubed is negative, then your graph pattern will be like this. Okay, and then the last one is a reciprocal. Okay, reciprocal will be slightly different from all the graph because it will have two different curved line over here. So reciprocal, when it's positive, you will got the graph pattern will look like this, and negative, the graph pattern will look like this. And then for negative, the graph pattern will look like this over here and over here. Alright, of course this one is a y, this one is a x and this one is a y lah, as usual. And this is 0. Right, so if for reciprocal graph, when a is bigger than 0, your graph pattern will look like this. When a is less than 0, your graph pattern will look like this. So for example, maybe I can give you some example. Let's say you got y equals to 4 over x, then your graph will look like this, because this one we call positive graph. And then this one, if a is negative, we'll have the graph maybe is like negative 24 over x. Alright, so yes, so you have to understand you got this kind of pattern of graph whenever they are positive or negative. Alright, so over here it's very important that you understand the number on the numerator actually is the a. Alright, and then how am I going to remember, here actually in the graph you have 4 sides, right? How am I going to remember is these 2 sides? Because from here to here, the y value is the positive, and this one, the x value is positive. You just remember something like this: positive multiple positive, you got positive, right? And then here, from here, the x value is negative, because this, so here x value will be negative, and then here y value will be negative. So negative multiple negative, you got positive also. So when this one is positive, so you got these 2 sides. Same to here. Here you can see actually the y value over here is positive, but the x value is negative. So positive negative will give you negative. Alright, here you can see x is positive, but y is negative, so he'll give you negative. So whenever negative, you must have 2 sides. Okay, reciprocal is the only one you have 2 curved lines separate one. Alright, so if you can understand this one, maybe let us move on. So something very important is, if you want to decide the pattern of the graph, you need to base on the a is either bigger than 0 or a is less than 0. Alright, and then a is always the number beside the highest power of x. Alright, please remember the position of a. Alright, and then the other thing is you have to make sure the y is the subject. Alright, you cannot have 2y or negative 3y or y over 4. You must move whatever number or alphabet you do not want to the other side. Make sure you make y as a subject. Alright, if you understand about this one, then we move on. Okay, so now if we want to solve the exam questions, something is very important over here, which is we call it x-intercept and y-intercept. Alright, let's say I just randomly draw a straight line over here. Alright, this one intercept with y1, this one we call it y-intercept. And then this one intercept at x-axis, this one we call it x-intercept. Over here you need to remember something. Whenever the y-intercept, you will got x equals to 0. And then whenever you want to find x-intercept, you will got y equals to 0. Yes, a lot of students might ask why. Okay, I'm going to show you why. Alright, so for example, I randomly take one coordinate on the x-axis. Let's say this one is negative 5. So what is this coordinate called? We will call it negative 5, 0. Let's say I randomly take one coordinate over here is 4. So this coordinate we call it 4, 0. So over here you can see all the coordinate on the x-axis the y value is equal to 0. Yeah, same to y-axis. Let's say I randomly take a coordinate over here is -6. So this coordinate we call it 0, -6. Let's say I take one is 7 over here. This coordinate we call it 0, 7. So you can see on all the coordinate on the y-axis, x will equal to 0. So whenever you want to like determine which graph of it, because sometimes he will give you the equation is quite complicated. This information is very important to help you to decide the pattern of your graph. Alright, so I just want you to remember something is like this. When x-intercept y will equal to 0. Okay, just something like the other way around. So when y-intercept x equal to 0. You have to remember this one. This is something like very important information. Okay, so yes, so you just need to remember something. When x-intercept, y will equal to 0. Alright, when y-intercept, x will equals to 0. Okay, this is something you need to remember. Y-intercept, x equals to 0, and x-intercept, y equals to 0. Alright, later I will explain why this one is so important. Alright, so let's say we just randomly move on to some questions. Okay, let's say you see this kind of question in your exam. Yes, so let me just take another paper to cover up this one. Alright, in these questions, the question is which of the following graph represent y equals to 2x squared minus 3. Okay, so first I say decide the pattern of the graph. What's so important? A. Over here, what is the A value? A value equals to 2. A equals to 2. So A is positive, right? If bigger than 2 means it's positive. So the positive, if we refer back to what we learned just now, when A is positive, the graph pattern will like this. Alright, so the graph pattern like this, so the graph pattern must be like this. So I know this one is wrong, because this one A is negative, and this one is wrong, because these two will show you that A is negative. Because A is positive, your graph pattern should be like this. Alright, then now you know either the answer is B or D. So you have to decide whether it's B or D. So this is something very important. That's why just now I say y-intercept and x-intercept is quite important. So over here, okay, this is y-intercept, right? Just now I say if this is y-intercept, what will equal to 0? X will equal to 0. So I can try to make x equal to 0 into this equation. So when x equals to 0, what I will get for my y? So you can see here I write over here, so y equals to 2, 0 squared minus 3. So y will equals to -3. Alright, from here, you see I substitute 0 into the x. So I can get my y is actually equals to -3. Therefore, this is correct. Alright, so this is what? This is x-intercept, right? Because on the x-axis, so x-intercept, I say what will equal to 0? Y will equal to 0. Okay, I can try to substitute y equal to 0 into this equation, see what value I got for x. If I got the x value is -3, mean maybe this one is correct also. So I don't know. So let's see what will happen. So this one is x squared minus 3. So basically we know x squared will equals to 2 over 3. So and then x actually will equals to square root of 2 over 3. So obviously this is not square root of 2 over 3, so this one is wrong also. So therefore, if you can understand the intercept concept, actually it's quite important for you to solve these kinds of past year question. Alright, let's have a look on the other patterns of question. Let's say we got something like this. Alright, so first, you see this kind of pattern, it is not a straight line, and then it's not a quadratic. So you must know this one actually is this pattern. This one we call it cubic graph. So cubic graph, what is the highest power of the graph? You must have the x power of 3. Therefore we call it cubic. Alright, and then this pattern, first we know A must be positive. If A negative, you got the graph is like this. If A negative, you got the graph will look like this. Okay, this is when A is negative. Alright, let's ignore about the negative side, we have a look on this one. Okay, the graph show the diagram show the graph of the certain function. The equation of the graph, okay, is which one? A, B, C, or D? So you have to answer this question. First, you have to know what is the pattern of this one. This one is 4x squared. So the A is positive. So the graph pattern will like this. This one, the A is 32. So the graph pattern will like this. Okay, this one, the A is 8. So the graph pattern will like this. So obviously, A, B, and C is A, B, and D is all wrong. And then this one is the cubic positive. The graph pattern will like this. So this is the correct answer, is C. Alright, so if you can remember all this, actually you can solve this kind of question easily. Okay, let's have a look at another two questions before we end our video. Alright, let's have a look at the question like this. Okay, let's say he says the diagram show the graph of y equals to bracket and x minus 2 and then 2x plus k. Find the values of k. He gives you this diagram. Right, from this diagram, first you have to understand what is this coordinate. This is x-intercept, right? So x-intercept, what will equal, this is y-intercept, right? So y-intercept x will equal 0. So this coordinate we call it 0, 6. Alright, in order to find the values of k, what you can do is you substitute 0 into all the x. So you see when x equals to 0, yes, then you just solve it. You can solve it easily. So when x equals to 0, what you will got is y will equals to 0 minus 2 and then 2, 0 plus k. Right, from here, what is the y value? The y value is 6. This is one of the coordinate, right? So I change the y value to 6. So 6 equals to, this is negative 2, and then this is k. So you want to find the k values, it's very simple. You can move the negative 2 to the other side, become 6 divided by negative 2, so you got k equals to negative 3. Yes, so you can easily got the values of k. Or if you want to like multiple in first, can also. So if you want to multiple in, but it will be a little bit more step. If you want to multiple in, so let's say I do it here. So y will equals to x minus 2, 2x plus k, isn't it? So when I multiple in, so I will got 2x squared plus kx minus 4x and then minus 2k. Alright, so this is y-intercept, right? So when x equals to 0, and y equals to 6, because this curve we pass by this coordinate, right? So I can substitute this coordinate into this equation. So I got 6 equals to, this one will be 0, we got 2 0 square plus k 0 minus 4 0 and then minus 2k. Oops, with minus 2k. Alright, so we know everything multiple 0, you got 0, 0, 0, so you got negative 2k. So therefore, k will equal to negative 3. Solve. Alright, so it's very important for y-intercept, x-intercept. This is why I always mention y-intercept, x-intercept is very important in order to solve this kind of question. So let's say this one. Okay, the diagram shows the graph of y equals to 4x minus x power of n. Find the values of t and the values of n. So first you find t is very simple. Yes. So on t over here, we got the coordinates. So if you want to find the t, you just substitute the coordinate into this equation. So what we know is our x equals to negative 1. And then our y value will equals to t. So if you want to find this one, you can just substitute it into here. So first, before you trying to substitute this one, I think this question you can't solve, because this question actually is an MCQ. Alright, you just ignore about finding the t, because it should give you A, B, C, D to choose. Alright, let's say, what is the power, what is the value for n? So over here, this one, this kind of pattern, you have to think this one is quadratic, cubic, linear, or reciprocal. So I say this one is the reciprocal. Well, not reciprocal, this one is the cubic. So cubic, the highest power of n will be 3. So n will equal to 3. Alright, because this kind of pattern actually is the cubic graph. Alright, because cubic graph, it can be like this, or it can like very straight. Alright, all of this one is called cubic graph. Okay, cubic graph is the one maybe hardly to recognize. So, but then we know that cubic graph, you will have x power of 3. Alright, yes, so let's go to the last one. Okay, this one. What is the graph for this one? We got xy equals to 24. Alright, so if xy equals to 24, you want to decide the pattern of the graph. So what we need to do is, I say you always need to make y as a subject. So I move the x to the other side. This is multiple, right? So move to the other side, become divide. So I got y equals to 24 over x. So this one, what is the power of x? So the power of x will be -1. Alright, because it's over x one. When the x on the denominator, you must very be careful. So when power of x is -1, so what is a? A is 24. 24 is bigger than 0. So the graph pattern will be like this. Alright, if like this one, xy equals to -44. So I say must make y as subject. So y will equals to -44 over x. So first, I have to decide this one, what is the power of x? So the power of x obviously is equal to -1 as well, because this one is in the denominator. And then a, what is a over here? The a is -44, so it's less than 0. So the graph pattern will look like this. Alright, so I hope from this video can give you some basic understanding about the whole chapter about graph function. Of course, graph function, the important part actually in the paper 2. In the paper 2 is a 12-mark question. But then in the paper 1, actually you have 2 to 3 questions. And then I find out actually it's quite easy to score. So I hope this video can help you like solve almost all the paper 1 question for SPM Model Max. Alright, if you got any question, you just post on my Facebook or my YouTube. Alright, thanks for watching.